Guys, today we are watching one of the games from the 7th round of the Qatar Masters Open 2023 chess tournament. This tournament finished really recently, with Nordirbek Yakuboev being the winner, a rising star from Uzbekistan. Magnus Carlsen finished this tournament on the 15th place, and judging from this game, it seems to me that Magnus Carlsen is getting bored of chess. If not all chess, then at least classical chess. You will be the judge of that. Of course, you will look at this game and feel free to let me know your opinion, but it seems like that all of those long games playing in classical tempo took its toll on Magnus Carlsen. So without further ado, we'll go straight into the game. Magnus playing as white, he opens the game with e4, we have e5 by Karthikeyan, knight f3 and knight c6 was played for black. We have bishop b5, Spanish game, a6 for black, pushing away this bishop, bishop a4, and right now knight f6 played for black. We have knight c3 for Magnus Carlsen, a little rare move in these sort of positions. Usually what players do is they castle, either castling or playing d3 is the most common thing to play. But knight c3 was played for Magnus Carlsen, we have b5 for black, bishop b3, and right now we have bishop c5 played for black. Now Magnus Carlsen plays knight d5. Now, you're probably thinking that Magnus is leaving this pawn free for taking, but it's actually not free. I will of course show you. So after knight d5, if you decide to pick up this pawn, then we have d4 as white. So your bishop is attacked. Bishop takes on d4, knight takes on d4, and knight picks up on d4. Right now, Magnus would continue the game with queen g4. Right now, this is a really dangerous threat, and basically you cannot save it. You have to castle. This is the best option for black if you want to save your skin. And now we have queen picking up on e4. c6 for black. It seems like black is left with one piece up, but it's not. I will show you, of course. We have knight to e3, and right now we have d5, pushing away this queen. Queen has to take, and right now we have knight picking up on b3, a picks up on b3, and d4 now played for black. The best option here for white is to castle, because if you refuse, of course, if you move your knight anywhere else, for example on d1, then your queen will fall, and black will eventually return his piece, and black will have a really nice game, with white doing even better. So that is the reason why knight d5 looks like this pawn is hanging, but it's actually not. Magnus knows what he's doing. He's really good. And we have d6 for black played in this position. A game continued with c3 for Magnus Carlsen, with the idea to push this pawn. We have bishop to e6, right now pressuring this knight, and we have d4. Magnus continues with his original idea. E picks up on d4, c picks up on d4, and right now bishop picks up on d4 for Karthikeyan. We have e picks up on d5, and right now bishop b4 was played for black. And Magnus now plays king f1. Now you might be wondering, but castle after bishop b4, don't white have like bishop d2? Isn't that better to save your castle? Yes, it seems that way, but it's actually not, because after bishop picks up on d2, queen picks up on d2, black has this move, and your pawn will definitely fall. There is no way to defend this pawn, and right now computer actually recommends castling for white, and also recommends castling for black here, with the same idea. This pawn is weak and there is no way to defend it. So that is the reason why this is not the best idea here for white, and black is doing better after this trade happens. Of course, this pawn will fall. Magnus of course sees this, and that is the reason why he plays this ugly move, king f1, and he's losing the right to castle. Again continued with knight to e7 now played for black. We have, of course, attacking this pawn. We have queen d3 for Magnus Carlsen. Unfortunately, this was not the best move. The best move that actually gives the advantage for white is bishop g5, simply threatening to trade this knight and then create a really ugly pawn structure here. And also, if the black decides to castle on king's side, he will have a weakness, of course, open g-file. So black would have to continue with knight f to g8, and after queen to d3, white is doing just fine. But of course, after queen d3 immediately, black has the advantage. Black continues with queen d7. Now Magnus continues the game with h4. His idea is to push this pawn even further and then try and activate this rook, which is really on an awkward spot here, because you kind of lost your right to castle, and you cannot activate this rook the other way around. You would have to waste 1, 2, no, actually 1-2 moves at least before you can put your rook into game. Still your rooks wouldn't be connected. So that is the reason why h4 was played. Black responds with h6, we have h5 for white, and right now we have knight e picks up on d5, so this pawn falls. Magnus continues with a rook to h4, we have castle, long castle for black, and white now plays a3, pulling away this bishop. We have bishop a5 played for black, and right now we have a4 played for Magnus Carlsen. So for now black doesn't want to do that. Of course he doesn't want to trade. You don't want to allow this queen from attacking and invading this position. You also don't want to open a file if you don't need to. So bishop b6 was played for black. Now if the trade happens, there is nothing you can do here. White is pretty much, black is satisfied to trade this. After check you don't have anything, we simply go here and that's it. You have to move your rook back. It looks scary, but it's actually not. Black is perfectly fine. So that is the reason why after bishop b6 we have knight to d2 now played for Magnus Carlsen. We have rook h to e8 taking advantage of the open e file. We have a picks up on b5, a picks up on b5, and right now knight e4 was played for white. We have king to b7 played for black. Black now wants to offer some counterplay on the h8 square if possible. We have queen to f3, now immediately trying to pin this piece in future. Good move by Magnus. Black plays queen c6, another great idea, simply to unpin your piece and to offer more protection of this knight. And now Magnus makes a mistake, he picks up this pawn on h6. Now it looks everything will be fine if g picks up on h6 is played. Yes, then white will be better, and after knight picks up on f6, knight picks up on f6, queen picks up on f6, white is doing just fine. White is actually doing slightly better, but black doesn't need to pick up this bishop immediately. So after bishop picks up on h6, we have a rook picks up on e4, a strong counterattack played by Karthikeyan. Right now you have to pick up your rook, and after g picks up on h6, black has two pieces for a rook, and that is always a favorable trade for black. Now we will just go back a little bit. So instead of bishop h picking up on h6, one of the ideas that white could have played is knight picking up on f6, and after knight picks up on f6, queen picks up on c6 check, king picks up on c6, and bishop takes on f7. After rook f8, bishop goes on b3 with a decent play for white and an equal game. But you saw bishop picks up on h6 and counterattack, and then rook picks up on e4 for Magnus. We have g picks up on h6, rook e goes on e1, and we have king b8, another really important move played for black. Now you're probably asking, why is this such a good move? Because if you play anything else, for example, if you miss this and you play something like rook g8 to try and, for example, pressure this pawn, then you will lose your piece, because rook a to c1, your queen is here, you have to retreat it, and your knight becomes overloaded and you will lose a piece. So you have to be careful even if you are winning, if you have a winning position. That is the reason king b8 is a really good move. We have rook to e2 by Magnus Carlsen, and we have queen b7 right now, just putting your queen on a safer square and removing yourself from this threat. We have bishop picking up on d5, knight picking up on d5 for black, and we have queen picks up on f7 for Magnus Carlsen. Right now black sees this and he is not scared of this queen. We have c6 played for black, and right now Magnus decided to pick up this queen. Queen picks up on b7, king picks up on b7, and we have rook to d1 with the idea to protect this pawn. Black continues by bringing his king into the endgame. We have rook to e6 for Magnus Carlsen, right now attacking this pawn, and we have a really nice move by Karthikeyan, that is rook to f8. Right now it seems like black is leaving this pawn free for taking, but this pawn is actually poisoned. You probably saw the tactical idea that black just put up. So if you decide to pick up this pawn, then you will lose your rook. Knight e3 check. Your pawn is pinned, so you have to move your king and you can say goodbye to your rook. So that's a really nice idea here, a nice defensive move by black. So rook to f8 was played, and Magnus Carlsen of course sees this and he plays rook to d2 to protect himself from this threat. Now taking this pawn is an option. Of course black doesn't allow this. He plays rook to f6, offering trade and also defending the pawn. We have rook to e4. it is not good for Magnus to trade in this position. King goes on d7 for black. We have g3 for white. Rook f5 now played for black, attacking this pawn right now. We have g4 with attempt to defend this pawn, and we have rook f7 right now played for black, putting your rook on safe square and also protecting this 7th rank. You never know. Rook goes on d3 for Magnus. We have knight to c7 right now, rerouting this knight for black. Rook e goes on e3. Magnus now tries his best to protect the control of the 3rd rank, but nothing there to do. Black is the one that is asking questions, and he goes knight to e6. We have d5 now played for Magnus Carlsen. Magnus now tries with the attempt with a sort of a trick. Of course, now the best move is to pick up this pawn, which actually happened in the game. After d5, of course, if you decide to pick up this rook, then white will equalize the game with d picks up on e6 check, and after you pick up, rook picks up on e3 and the game is equal again. Of course, Karthikeyan knows that what is going on, and c takes on d5 was played. We have rook to f3 played by Magnus Carlsen. Rook to g7, although trading here is favorable for black, black is not rushing it because he wants to pick up one or few more pawns and then he can safely trade. There is no need to do that right now. We have rook picking up on d5 for Magnus Carlsen. Rook picks up d4. Rook picks up on g4 for black. We have rook to f6 now played for Magnus Carlsen, attacking this pawn. Black continues by bishop d4. He's giving up this pawn. We have a rook picking up on h6. Rook f4 right now attacking this pawn, of course, and this pawn cannot be defended for Magnus Carlsen. He goes rook picks up on b5. Rook picks up on f2 with a check. King goes on e1. We have a knight to c5, kind of getting closer and closer to the white king. We have king to d1, and after bishop e3, Magnus Carlsen decided to resign the game because you are simply losing. Magnus is now in a mating net, and whatever you do, you will be forced to give up one of your rooks for a minor piece, and you will be losing this endgame. I will show you, of course, what could have been played here. So, for example, rook h7 check, king c6, and now if you decide to save your rook, for example, rook a5, knight to d3 is what makes this move completely over for Magnus Carlsen. Threat is immediate checkmate with rook to d2. Computer here recommends rook a6, and after king b5, rook a5, king picks up on a5, and for example rook a7, but there's nothing you can do. You can only give up your rooks, and that's it. You can only postpone a checkmate a little bit. The game is over. And this is how this game ended, and this is all I have prepared for you today. If you enjoyed this game, please make sure to leave a comment, like, and share this video, because you know it really helps me a lot. Share this video with people who enjoy chess, because it helps the growth, organic growth of my channel. And really, guys, I couldn't do it without your help, and I really appreciate it. Also, if you wish, you can donate to my channel. I will leave the PayPal link in the description of this video. Each donation is much appreciated. It is not necessary, but is much appreciated. And of course, each new donator will be listed in every new of my videos. And also let me know your questions and your thoughts about this game. Do you think Magnus Carlsen is getting bored of classical chess? Do you think that all of those games and all of those long tournaments played simply took its toll on him, and he's simply not interested in wasting his head and his mind on long format games and classical chess, according to FIDE? Do let me know if I missed something in the analysis, something you thought, something you pulled out of this game. And as you know, I really enjoy reading your comments, guys, as always. And yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for watching one more time, and we will see each other in the next video. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.